Licks.
Vix.
Companion.
Bonje.
How are these four words relatively related? Let's talk about it. All right. Welcome back to the next episode of Relatively Rated. So, guys, we just finished another series. We finished our health series. That's amazing. So, congrats on our second series finished. Yep. So we talked about starting projects, our first series, and now we just concluded on health. So what we've been doing is in between we talked. We spent some time with our Ole Talk. And that's what we're going to be doing today. I'm really excited about this because in today's episode of Ole Talk, we're going to look at it from some West Indian parenting styles or different things they use and different words they commonly say. So we'll jump in and talk about it today, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so just so you guys know, my word is licks, and you're going to find out why I chose that word in a little bit, as I'm sure I will for each of you.
I know each of us have a good lick story.
Oh, yeah. I got too many growing up.
But just to get it started, a question I have for all of you guys is, what is one thing that your parents, as West Indian parents, talk about a lot? Like, what's one thing you find they talk about a lot?
How hard it was for them versus how easy we have it. That's one thing that my mom and dad always used to talk about, like how lucky I am, just how difficult it was for them, and we have it easier.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And they would always say things like, boy, I used to walk to school for this long.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, wait, they'll be like, oh, I walked to school in the rain, snow. I'm like, but you grew up in the Caribbean. What do you mean snow? What are you talking about? That was one of the things that they would always talk about.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Them going and like walking to different places, how far it was, and
Trudy, what's something that your parents always talked about?
Well, two things, like along the lines of what Terry was saying, like just West Indian people as a whole, because for Troy and myself, like, yes, I was born in Grenada, but we really grew up in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's one thing West Indian people love to say is, oh, you guys don't know nothing about a Caribbean. They always
remind
try to
you of
compare.
that you're not born, that you're not from.
You're not there, from there, you didn't grow up there. How could you know these words? Like, it's just crazy that. But the other thing is cleaning. Like, that was like a big thing. Like, you cannot mess up a Caribbean mother's house or anything like that. A grandmother's house, no. If
And
you
they
leave a
always
dish
had the plastic wrap on the
couch, and you can't sit on the couch.
You can't.
I'm like, what's the point of having this couch in plastic?
Cleaning was big because for
man.
us, we spent like a large portion, like especially me, of my time with my grandmother, and she was really big on cleaning. And I always remember this story. Terry and I would remember. You know how you said leaving a dish on the ground. I remember Terry knows what I'm talking about. Leaving a dish, right? And like her walking by and knocking it down, right? And she's like, how could you leave the blasted dish on the ground or whatever, right? But then another time, but she forgot
Same exact
something.
situation.
And I knock it down and she's like, watch where you're walking.
So it's never her fault, right?
It's always your fault for all the
And
discrepancies.
like that's the thing with Caribbean parents, you could never win. Like,
No. There's no apologies.
There's no apologies.
I'm sorry. No, it's not the vocabulary.
That's not existent in a Caribbean home.
And that's what I was kind of thinking about it from, like, what do what do they say a lot? But also another question is, when you think of West Indian parents, could be your own parents or like others you've observed, when you think about them, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? When you
Hardworking.
Hardworking?
For sure, hardworking.
Strict.
Yeah, strict is a big one.
Like, you mean in terms of like with punishment or just rules?
Rules in general, just everything. They're very strict. You have to do it their way.
Yeah.
You would like to find a slack Caribbean parent. You would be a very lucky child.
Yeah.
To have a
And if they're a slack West Indian parents, the other parents are like, what's
Wrong
wrong
with
with them?
that one?
I'm like, what
They would destroy that person.
Why are you the friend? Why are you your child's friend? You're supposed to be there.
The community would destroy
Yeah.
that. Like,
Yeah.
full fledged.
Trudy, what do you think of when you think of West Indian parents?
Well, I mean, what Troy and Terry said, like hardworking, strict. Yeah, those are the two key things.
Yeah.
I
think those
also
are the main
think
I think that's it.
Yeah.
I also think that they're loving.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
I obviously when you're growing up you don't think that, but they're also very loving. Like so many West Indian parents will do so much thing for their kids above and beyond because they generally love them. It's just how they show it at times.
Yeah, because I was about to say maybe sacrificial. Like they're very sacrificial. Like they
That's a good
sacrifice a
example.
lot.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the you know. But in terms of like let's say the North American way of showing love,
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think that's really in the
Yeah.
West Indian parents kind of thing, like saying "I love you" and
No,
stuff.
they're
Like,
not.
you don't get
no,
that
you
that
don't get
often.
the
Yeah.
I love you or anything.
No.
It's only as of like recently.
Yes, the more
That's
maybe the
becoming
younger,
more of
yeah,
a-
yeah,
yeah.
the younger generation.
Because I make it like my duty to
Yes.
tell people like I love you. like,
yeah.
I love you,
Yeah.
Charlie.
I love you. Terry.
Yeah, you guys
But
always
that
do
is
that.
true though. That's true. Like, cause even with Tim, like, I'm like, okay, make sure I hug him and say I love you, like all the time, right? Cause
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
parents, like, you guys are great. Like, I love you. You guys are nice, but
We
I
don't
wasn't
care
there.
that. Yeah.
Well, I'm like this week something happened and like Tim was doing something that I didn't want him to do and I told him not to and I was about to like be like, could you just stop? But then I was like, you know what, come here, let me give you a hug or whatever. It actually that thing went through my head and I like sat and talked to him after and I explained it to him because I do have flashbacks of
That's
No, it's
bad memories.
with my dad and stuff, but
I don't think I've never heard my dad passed away obviously, but I have not heard him say I love you.
wow.
oh man, you need a session and therapy.
I need some therapy.
Therapy,
for
yeah, man.
You know, as the male figure in your life, I think I'll step up and say I love you, Terry.
oh, thank you. I needed that.
You're welcome. You know, it's tough being a male figure.
But what do you think about it, right? Because you guys talked about strict, and that's something I briefly want us to talk about. When you think of the
Briefly, we should do a whole episode on strict.
the different types of parenting, like there's authoritative, authoritarian, permissive, and uninvolved. So like authoritarian is they expect their orders to be obeyed without question, right?
That's a very
that's
Caribbean
that's
one, yeah.
Caribbean.
And
very
then
Caribbean.
authoritative is they encourage kids to be responsible, to think for themselves, and to consider the reasons or rules. Then permissive is who are responsive and warm, but also reluctant to enforce rules. So they're very warm and responsive, but they don't
Definitely. The
enforce
third
rules.
one is very rare for a
And then
Caribbean
finally,
parent.
the uninvolved, right? As the word says, you know, they offer their children emotional support, but they fail to enforce standards of conduct. So they don't do much. So I was going to ask, of those four, which one do you think? But I think I got my answer.
I
Yeah,
think, but I also think for the woman, for the mothers, I think is more authoritative. The first one,
Okay.
yeah. Whereas the fathers,
The authoritarian, like
Yeah.
they expect their orders to be obeyed without question and rely on punishment. That's the fathers to control.
but I think for majority of Caribbean fathers, they probably fall under number 4.
Oh, uninvolved?
Uninvolved.
You think so? I don't think so.
Depends, 'cause,
Yeah.
that's a big debate. Like
Yeah.
I know it's a big debate because you do have like two classes
Wow,
of
this
like
thing
fathers.
really
I
got
know we
serious.
just
It was
went like a
supposed to be Ole
different
Talk, guys. You
different
guys just
roadmap
took it
here.
there, but
But no, I think like
uninvolved
you
parents.
do have like there are some who are like that,
Mm-hmm.
right? Where they're maybe just not actively involved in their kid's life and they're just, was it uninvolved?
Yeah.
But then you do have the Caribbean fathers who are into
And
their
they're-
kids' life.
and
Oh my
they're
gosh, they
They're
are
really
the
into it, yeah.
authoritarians. Like
Yeah.
Oh, that's
we
true.
are not. What do you mean?
That's-
like you want to discuss?
Sometimes that's who mom
these
had
rules.
to call, right?
Well, I was
Yeah.
gonna say that. Like
Yeah.
I growing up, I don't like my mom would say that she never really like beat me, like punish me. But I do remember times where she's like, "Your father is gonna be the one that's like,
Yeah, they'll like defer to that
Yeah.
person. And then the beauty too with the Caribbean is like that saying is true. Like it takes a village to raise
Raise
a
it.
child, right? So even if it's a case where your parents might not, if they didn't see you be rude or disrespectful, if like another person, like a neighbor or auntie or somebody sees that you're being disrespectful,
They will be
they'll
will
still
beat
give
you,
you the
yeah.
licks too. Like it
Like
doesn't matter.
on
They don't have to
road.
be
Yeah.
your parent.
on road, on site.
Yeah.
I got some licks from my aunties and stuff.
Yeah, Terry, I remember that.
Yeah. I got too much licks when I was
Like, and that's the beauty
Terry was
of
always getting it.
Yeah,
He's
all the
always
time.
getting licks.
Always,
That's
always.
me too. I was always getting licks. But like that's the beauty of being like growing up Caribbean. You
Yeah.
don't necessarily have to live.
Be
No.
there.
Yeah.
That's a good
It's
point.
wherever
Yeah.
they
It's wherever
are,
it
yeah.
is, because I was surrounded by like, you know, aunties, uncles, even people that I
the
know who
church,
yeah, like
Yeah.
they all were people who were not they were all were Caribbean people.
Yeah.
And they would, you know, like if I was misbehaving or whatever,
Yeah.
like they wouldn't
No,
be
they'll
fearful
pull
of
you
like,
up on it.
oh,
They'll
Yeah,
pull
like,
you
no.
up on
maybe
it.
should I like do
No.
this? No,
Can
they're
I
like,
say something?
try
No.
But that's
bam,
why
bam,
that's
shoot
why
me.
a lot of Caribbean kids in general have that respect for the elders,
Manners.
right?
Yeah.
yeah.
It's all about you have to say when we were going outside, going to the shop or wherever, we have to, if we pass by, we have to say Miss Thomas. I remember Miss
yeah.
Thomas, Miss Hood. We have to say them out.
Or even just good
yeah.
morning.
Good
Like
morning,
you can't
good
pass the
afternoon,
house
good
and
evening.
somebody's in the
Yeah.
veranda
Yeah.
and you
You
don't
can't.
say good morning or whatever.
Yeah.
I remember we went to Grenada one year. Like I was young, right? And I'm walking with like,
Rookie.
you know, my friends and stuff down the road. And we're passing the houses and stuff and people are there. And I'm just like, oh, hi. They're like, what did you say? You said hi to so-and-so. You have to say good morning, Miss so-and-so.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. In Canada, we just say, you know, hi.
It's funny because
Yeah.
I had the reverse situation. Like, you know, growing up in Grenada, I spent my childhood in Grenada. I came up here when I was 12. So when I came up here, I like the first few days, I saw someone outside, you know, they were beside my next door neighbor and passed by. Hi, miss. And then they just give me that look like,
Who are you?
who are you? So it's like, okay, I guess I'm not supposed to say hi to
It's,
you.
yeah, it's
No,
true.
it's a serious
It's
thing, because I
true.
remember one time my friend, he went up to my grandmother and he was just like, hi, Miss Iris. And my grandmother was like, who the hell you talking to? What do you mean, hi,
Hi.
Miss
You
Iris?
can't
Who
say
you
hi.
talking to?
Can't
Like,
say hi,
she
yeah.
was like,
Good morning.
seriously, like,
Good morning.
Offended.
she was offended. She was mad at him, and then he was just like, "Oh God, like I didn't mean to like
Yeah.
be disrespectful. Like no, but
So it's like parenting. It's not just the parents; it's also the community as
It's the
well.
community.
That was a big part. But I think for the most part, there was that kind of blend between the authoritarian and the authoritative, like where they allow you to do certain things. However, it must be within the confines
yeah.
of the
Yeah.
rules
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
set in
Yes.
place,
Yes.
right? So
I would say with the Caribbean parenting, it's a mix between 1 and 2,
yeah,
but like it's 60-40.
yeah.
Yeah, more of
For
one.
More like stick with
authoritarian,
the
is
rules.
60, but then you also have the 40%.
Yeah. And like I do agree with Terry in the sense of I did find the fathers were the ones who were involved. Yes, like we do know there's ones that didn't care, but the ones who were involved, it's like they are the law. Like
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah. Not questioning.
There's no question in them.
No.
yeah, what daddy says or whatever.
You just
The
cannot-
mom would like, you know, give you chances, and once you hear, I'm going to your dad.
That's
it.
That's it. You've lost.
It's
Your
over.
life is finished. Like I had a friend who, I think they were at home once. We were on the phone and like somebody had spilled juice, and then we hear his dad, because
Oh.
his dad has a booming voice, right? And like imagine hearing like a Caribbean parent with like a booming voice, right? Like that is a very scary thing. So like he was just like, who dropped the juice on the floor? And then like my boy who I was talking to, he was like, it wasn't me, right? And then he was like, then his brother was just like, oh no, daddy, it was me. And he's like, then why didn't you pick it up? Like he was going off
Yeah.
over some juice was spilled on the floor.
Oh,
Like,
man.
but like that's just, it's the same thing across the board. Like,
Yeah.
even if like, okay, you're a Caribbean person, like I have a friend, it's like say you're my friend, Phoebe,
Yeah.
and like we're on the phone, like we know the struggle.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
There's no laughing at you
No,
or
no,
whatever.
no, no,
Like
no.
we know.
Yeah, you get it.
Like there are certain things that you would laugh at, like period.
Yeah.
But like there's no like, oh, like that's weird or no. Like we understand.
Yeah, we
Get
understand.
it.
understand.
we
You
get
feel the pain
You
of the
feel the
person
pain.
that
You
the
know.
it.
person
Yeah, I
is.
know what's
Yeah.
coming. I know
Yeah,
what's coming.
I know it's coming.
Yeah. So it's like there's the different types, but like the point is even if our parents had like a little bit of each, maybe not so much of the emotional
Yeah,
no.
thing, but they did enforce the rules, and I think it's important to acknowledge, like, yes, that rules were not always nice, but it
You have
kind
to
of helped
follow
shape
them.
you to become who
Yes.
you are, right?
Yeah.
So that's really important. So the reason I asked is, for me, whenever I think of West Indian parents, one of the words that first came to mind, and that's why I use it as my word, is licks,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So licks, right? For those who don't know, licks is basically punishment, beatings, or
Yeah.
licks. So, well, I said the word licks indefinite, defining it, but it's basically the type of punishment. You might get some slaps or some hit with a belt, and like, I'm obviously talking about it in the context of Grenada, right, where I kind of grew up and stuff. So, that's part of the law there. It's allowed or whatever, right? So licks is kind of like whenever you did something wrong, you have to you may not be alert or not alert, you would just feel like some licks coming on to you. So
I think
that's why I
need
chose
to-
that as my
yeah.
We
word.
need to
'cause
pause on that part. You might be alert or not.
not yeah
No,
The
I-
not alert links are the worst ones.
I
When
got
you're
a
not
lot.
expecting
it.
I got a lot of licks.
Alert or non-alert? Alert.
Both.
Or okay.
I got licks from, because even your teachers were allowed to hit
Oh,
you, right?
yeah.
So
Yeah.
I got licks from teachers. I got
yeah and
my aunt. Well, let me tell you guys this story. When I was younger, I had a fall mite, and if anyone don't know what
yeah,
a
you did
fall
have a
mite
foul mouth.
means, you swear a lot. That's exactly what I was. So when I was one of my auntie, I went off on her. I call her, "You effing so and so." I went off, like I just go off on her. I just couldn't stop. So I got a good licks from her, right?
As you should have.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
should have. Well deserved. I don't remember what she did for her to upset me, but that's beside the point. A good licks. So I'm like, I'm gonna go home and tell my effing dad and so and so. I went off on her, and then next thing, when I reach home, my mom was waiting for me.
Of
So,
course. Of course.
within one day, I
Yeah,
got
two
two
licks.
solid licks. So well deserved, but I got a
Oh
lot of
my
licks growing
gosh.
up.
And like that's the thing, because you'd hear kids like up here now who aren't Caribbean speak to their parents.
Yeah, and
in
I'm like,
Yeah.
reckless,
Yeah.
reckless
Yeah.
ways.
Yeah, and they're just like, you can't do that.
Can-
I'm just thinking, how are you still alive?
I know.
Yeah.
That's my thing. You just called your mom an effing this,
Yeah.
and
Mm-hmm.
you're still
Yeah.
you're still
Living,
here.
you're breathing.
Yeah.
What?
Like I could have never done that.
No.
Never.
And that goes with my word, because that's one of the things that Caribbean parents would say, like, me and you is not companion,
Companion.
right?
Oh, that's
so
why your
that
word is
means,
companion,
So
yeah.
it's like, to them, it's like, I am the adult,
Mm-hmm.
you're the child. We're not
There's no
friends. Like,
negotiation.
yeah, if I say something to you as an adult, who are you to disrespect me, to question me, to swear at me? Like, that just does not happen,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
we're not on the same level. So that's a big thing for Caribbean.
Yeah, so it goes back again to the authority thing.
Yeah,
Like there's
yeah.
that kind of role authority. Like
Yeah.
I'm sort of like the elder one. I understand what's gonna be best for you.
Mm-hmm.
How dare you kind of like disrespect me and swear to me or whatever like that. So
But-
did you guys
Oh, go
go ahead, Troy?
No, I was gonna say, do you think it's a case with the whole like Caribbean parenting and stuff that we weren't like really taught on how to parent or like how to like deal with a child, because
I think it
there's no
was-
book for it.
I
No,
think it
there-
was kind of just like and that's one thing I'm gonna touch on like right at the end. The West Indian parents, they did the best with what they
Yeah.
had. Like,
Yeah.
That's
so it's
with
like
the
they
best
were just
information.
they were just doing what they can to survive and to help their kids be the best they can be in the long run. So they're thinking, okay, I want a child, and manners is really important. I want a
Yes.
child who has a lot of manners and respect. So you can't be talking to me like that. You can't be disrespectful. Maybe they didn't do it the perfect psychological way or whatever,
yeah.
but it was kind of like that was their goal, to kind of make the best human being they can. So
But if you look at it, every generation did get better, right? Every
Yeah.
generation, they took what the positive of the past and just improve on it. So
Yeah.
every generation did get better. And Terry rightly said they did the best with what they have. The information that we have,
the yeah.
they didn't have that information. They just learned from what they saw, right?
Yeah.
But they did their best with that information, and every generation got better along the way. So.
Yeah. And like with the whole licks thing, like that's something that I don't want to do that with my kid at all. Like putting my hands on my kid. 'Cause,
Yeah.
bro, I remember the licks I used to get. Like I remember one time.
Okay, perfect. Because
Yeah.
one of my questions is, give me a lick story. Terry gave me one. You give me one.
I'll
yeah.
give you my lick story. So one time I did something in school. I was always doing something in school.
Always.
But that's not really the point. Anyways, I also used to get snitched on a lot by my sister.
No.
And she just snitched on you right now.
No.
Just now. Trudy's a snitch if you didn't know that. But anyways. Yeah. So I did something at school and I knew that I was gonna be getting licks at home, and it was in the winter time, and this is probably why I like winter so much. I put my hand in the snow before I got home until I couldn't feel them.
Numbed out your
wow.
hand.
Wow.
Numbed out my hand. Like
That's how much you.
completely numb. Like and I'm talking like because I did it all the way up to my to the middle of my forearm.
Wow.
Right? Like I found a big like snow hill, put my hand in there, and I just stayed there for a long, long time until I couldn't feel my hands
To me, that's
anymore.
punishment.
It
I would
is
take the
punishment.
licks.
It is punishment. And then I would go home, and like I knew that the teachers had already called my parents.
Yeah.
They were ready. It was a kind of quiet in the house. When you
Calm
walk
before
in.
the
Quiet
storm.
It was
before-
calm. Yeah, because you'd walk in and you like the house is just quiet. It's
Yeah.
still, and then you hear your name, Terry, Terry,
Hi.
and and sometimes they probably wouldn't even call you out that much. They'll just tell you come, like they'll be like come,
You know,
Troy, come here. And like they would do this whole thing where you go into the room, they'd ask you what you did. This is like
So how was school?
yeah, how was school?
What
today?
happened in school
What
today?
happened today?
Mm.
So and if you try to lie, which I tried it once. I tried to lie once, but like nothing happened.
get-
and she was just like, no. Your teacher called me today. Da, da, da. So I was like, oh God, okay. So I told her the truth and all that. And on this specific day, I was trying to get it done fast because like every second my hand is getting warmer and warmer. There's feeling going back to my hand. I don't want that. I don't want feeling in my hand. So I'm telling you, like I did this, and this. Let's get with the legs.
Come.
And another thing they would do is make you go and pick the belt out.
Yeah.
That is
Oh,
the worst.
Troy
So
was
you-
classic for that.
My-
I always
good.
remember there was this one time she's like, go get the belt.
Yeah.
And little kids, like they have these like thin belts and like there's like a nice like
There's
felt on the back.
Yeah.
Like it's a very thin belt.
Yeah.
Troy went and got like the thinnest belt. She's like, go back and get another belt.
my,
Sometimes they even double up on them. We're like,
my
"No, not that
mom
one."
didn't give us that option. She'll grab anything.
What she got?
Yeah, that is the worst.
That's
No,
the scary
you know
one.
what my mom did though? She would not stop giving me licks until she see those tears.
Yeah, because Terry would like not
Because
cry.
I'm
Right?
tough, right?
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I'm not gonna cry. But she will make sure she licks me until
Until
I
you
cry.
cry. Oh my God. Yeah. I was crying before. Like, that,
Tari was
Yeah, I
crying
was one of those.
before.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I cried before.
I would cry
just
before.
Cry quick, man.
yeah, cry quick so then they'll feel bad.
Yeah.
Right? But they never felt bad.
Okay, here's the thing. The worst thing a Caribbean person would say while you're getting licks.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Why are you crying?
Yeah.
I give you something to cry for,
Yeah.
or you want me to give you something to cry for? It's like you're beating
giving-
me. Like that's why I'm crying. Why are you
Yeah.
asking me why am I crying? And the thing is, for me as a kid, like I was a very, I would like not
You
rude,
talk.
but like I would talk
you
like,
talk,
well, it's
yeah.
because you're beating me, so
Yeah.
then you get more licks
Yeah.
when you say
You're
that.
smart.
You
Yeah,
talking back to me now?
You can't,
Yeah.
you can't be. You can't. It's again the authority. You
yeah,
can't
man.
talk
Yeah.
back to your
Can't talk
parents,
back.
right?
Yeah.
They're like a head above you. They're placed to protect you or whatever. So you can't just be disrespectful to them.
Tari,
right?
what was your
That's the
licks
thing.
Yeah,
story?
what was
Tari
your
didn't get
worst,
licks,
like,
man.
Tari didn't get a lot of licks. Not like me.
I
Wow,
was
you actually
shocked
have
he
to
chose
think
the
about
word
it.
licks.
He didn't get a lot of licks. He-
Ew.
See, Tara's a good
but,
boy.
yeah, he was generally a good guy. Yeah. Yeah.
A lick story. Okay, I'll tell you guys a lick story.
Your one lick story.
Yeah, and it
Oh
wasn't
my
from my mom.
Oh my goodness.
My mom, I don't remember my mom
Yeah.
really giving me licks, but
I got licks.
you because it's funny because when he was just saying your mom would beat you until you cry, I'm like, I don't, like that's not what is he
What are you talking about? Mom never beat anyone.
But no, the thing I remember is friends, man, friends.
Oh.
You're not supposed to eat in school.
In
You're
the
not in the
classroom?
classroom. You're not supposed to eat in the classroom. And this one guy, he brought pastries, and he was selling it for like 50 cents or some cheap price, right? And the whole class bought pastries from him. He bought enough. Like, it was a really good deal compared to how much you would pay for it.
Right.
And we all ate it and stuff. And the teacher was late, and we were all just finishing eating, just having fun or whatever. This is in high school, like, you know. So I'm like at least 12 or 13
Yeah.
going up there. And he comes in and he's like, what's going on here? Like, why are you guys eating in the class? Like, you're not supposed to. Eating time is like break time, like lunchtime.
Yeah.
And we were just like, okay, there's no way he's gonna beat every single one of us. But we had to. It was double because this was such a bad thing. We had to come to school on Saturday. We all had to wear our uniforms on Saturday when everyone is chilling, having fun. We had to come to school on Saturday, and the principal, not just the teacher, he licks every single one of us.
But sometimes the principal gave the worst.
Yeah.
licks.
So, and he was known like his name was Ashby. He was known for that, right? So like, imagine the psychological pain of like, you have to go to school on Saturday, and there's a long line of like 20 to 30 of you guys,
And you're seeing
and
everybody.
you're hearing them go. You're not seeing, but you hear they go into the room, and you hear like sprack, sprack, sprack. They get it. You have to bend over on like the table, and like, yeah, that's my most. So I had to go in, and I got my legs fat. And the thing is, if you're crying, your friends are seeing you with a coat, so you want to try to not cry, but it's hard not to because it's painful,
no.
right? That was my experience.
Oh,
I
man.
definitely always remember that one. Yeah, followed friends, and yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Katie, what about you?
So for me, as Troy was calling me a snitch growing up, the one time I remember was my parents, I think they went out or something, and I was home. We had a babysitter, but Troy was there. He was younger, obviously 7 years younger than me, and he went on the balcony. My dad had his tool kit on the balcony. We lived, I think, on the 12th floor, and
Oh, wow.
Troy took all the tools in the toolbox and threw them over the balcony.
Oh wow.
Yeah, try that. was
Over
and your
the
dad loves
balcony.
tools.
Yeah.
But not just that. Imagine someone
Someone,
was
yeah.
walking by and a hammer is just like coming down off a balcony.
Wait, but Trudy, aren't you telling us your licks?
I'm telling you my lick story.
Oh.
Yeah.
Right. So she's snitching on me while she.
So what I don't get, and I think this is where my snitching thing came from. My dad came home and he's like, "What happened? Where's my tools?" And I'm like, "Well, I don't know what happened." We're like, "Look on the balcony." And then we realize, okay, well, the tools are all emptied out. So I'm like, "Well, who did this?" I'm like, "Is it Troy?" I'm like, Troy, you did this, right?" You would think Troy would get beating. I got the licks
As the older one?
because as the older one, I was supposed to be watching him or knowing what he was doing, and I always remember that.
Yeah.
I got beat. I don't even remember if Troy got licks for that. I got licks because Troy threw all the tools over the
The few
balcony.
times, Troy.
So
I don't remember. this
you don't remember
incident
anything,
happening.
yeah.
No, I don't.
So that's why for me, I was just like, you know what? I am not taking blame for anybody
So
ever.
it just-
But no, that was my main licks thing. And the other thing is more like my mom, she didn't used to beat like with belt like that. She was a wooden spoon lady.
Oh, okay.
Oh my.
So, and the worst thing is the way it works with her is you have to put out your hand and then she would like give you the licks in your hand. You can't, like if you put your hand, so put your hand out. And like if she puts it down and you pull your hand back,
You get an
you get
extra,
more.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that was my whole trauma with wooden spoons
have to
and
keep
getting
your-
licks. You had to keep your hand, and I was always crying before I got the licks. So it was just a big mess for me, man.
Yeah, so that's why I actually chose that as my word. And the next question I have, and you guys can at any time just jump in and talk about your word if you like to. But the question I had is, what's a funny statement you heard from your parents growing up, like West Indian parents?
Oh, this leads into my word.
Yeah.
Vicks. Because for me, everything is put some Vicks on it, right?
Yeah.
If you're sick, just put some Vicks on your body. You know, so that's why I thought that was funny. Because with me, with Caribbean parent, they just had that belief that Vicks is gonna fix anything. If you're
Yeah.
sick, put Vicks. If you have a bruise, put Vicks on it.
Kroll.
Yeah, anything, just put Vicks on
And
it.
also tea too. Like that was a big
Yeah.
thing
Tea
for
and
me.
Bush,
Like
bush tea.
bush
Bush tea,
tea. Yeah,
yeah.
there's
Yeah,
some bush for everything. Like your
Yeah.
stomach hurts, get this bush. This thing hurts, this bush.
Yeah.
So that is a representation of the fact that like they have these like cure-alls
Yeah.
for like
Yes.
things,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like there's certain things that they just have like that can help you with anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, rubbing alcohol was like a
Yeah.
big one. We used to rub alcohol all like a lot, right? So yeah.
Yeah, my grandma had this thing. It's like a sap mixture.
Sap, yeah.
So it's like it has like all this
Babon.
And it
alcohol.
smells.
Is it babon?
Uh, I don't know what it was called, but
Yeah, I
she
think
would
it's
have
babonde.
alcohol mixed with like bush. So it's like
Yeah.
a combination of
Yeah.
everything, and like she'll sap her knee
Yeah,
with
you have
it.
to
Yeah.
That's
you have
gonna
to
help with the
sap.
arthritis. Yeah, so
Yeah. There are also other benefits for that, but we're not gonna talk about that. Yeah.
One other thing that I thought was funny, I heard that also, just going back to the licks. If I put you into this world, I can take you out of this world.
oh my
That's
God.
that's something that they say a lot. But the one that I kind of brought is that the funny saying is, and I'm sure you guys have heard this, and I actually caught myself saying this to Timothy
Oh,
like a
no.
couple weeks ago, like if you can't hear, you're gonna feel.
Or if
Yep.
you
I didn't
can't-
actually
yeah.
I didn't actually go
Yeah.
on to like.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Making
But
him
I
feel.
told him, I'm like, Tim, I was like, do this. He wasn't doing it. Like, don't go there. And like, I can clearly tell if he goes there, it's gonna be bad for him. I'm like, don't do it. And I just said, I'm like, who can't hear gonna feel? It's like that's
It's
what they used to
automatic,
always
man.
tell
It
us.
just
Like,
comes to
Because
you
it's
now.
ingrained in you, right?
Yeah.
You
but
heard
do you
that all
guys,
the time.
but do you guys remember that's
Of
Oh yeah,
course.
for sure,
Yeah.
for sure,
Of
for
course.
sure.
Of course.
It's basically like if you don't listen, and if
gonna
you don't
feel.
listen, eventually you're gonna feel the
it,
pain.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's something that can apply to life as a whole, though, guys.
Yeah.
Like,
It's true.
Another-
It was wisdom.
Yeah, another one that they used to say, well, is more Jamaican, but like stick broken in your ear or something.
Yeah,
Like that.
yeah.
That is
Yeah,
one thing
Because
too.
you had it, right?
Yeah, like you're hard headed. So
yeah.
Oh, that was one, like, again, as I said, like, I was one of those kind of precocious little kids, and it's like, your head is so hard. I'm like,
Yeah.
well, obviously my
Yes,
head is hard. Like, it's a
Yeah,
skull.
yeah,
Like, what do you mean? And
Yeah.
you get licks for that.
you get
too.
licks for that.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, even
Yeah,
My
you-
mouth gave me a lot of licks.
Yeah, you can't.
my
mouth-
actions.
Yeah, your actions just use the words.
Well, my action and my mind
Yeah, that
give me a
one was-
lot.
And then Tara, you just didn't say
Tara
anything. You didn't do
said-
anything. No
Tari
licks.
was like the good.
No, it's not that. I just didn't want to get it. My whole job growing up was to avoid
Avoid licks at
at all costs. Okay, talking is gonna get. No, I'm not saying anything. Okay, let me
Doing
just
things?
not do anything.
like being an active child.
Just
and
read a book.
experiencing life. No,
That's why I just
Tiredness.
I just used to look at the maps. Like just
Oh my God.
I scary. That's what I love.
He had his nickname Atlas because he knew everything about the map.
I'm envisioning Terry at home just looking at the maps, and Terry's getting licks, and Terry's there just like you can hear it.
The
Like,
fact,
just like,
the fact that he didn't know that mom would beat her until you cried, that just shows like
Oh my god.
Terry was getting licks,
Yep.
and Terry was just like, so where's Madagascar? I want to find where Madagascar is. Is that okay?
Oh,
Off the
you
coast
make
of
me
Africa.
cry.
What are some other
my
funny
God.
words that you heard your parents say like as
Okay.
West Indians?
So it was. I'm ashamed. I'm ashamed of this, but I always used to think that they were saying "make case."
oh
Yes, that was a big word
that
for me,
I
yeah.
thought
Yeah,
they
yeah.
were
Troy, you have to
saying-
put that one up
Yeah.
on the
Yeah.
screen because
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I thought they were saying
make case.
case.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's make haste.
but it's make haste.
Yeah,
Yep, yep.
I used to think I was like make haste, make haste.
plus
grandma used
the
to
accent, and they did never really. Yeah.
But
So
And
that's
they
their
said
way-
it so quickly too,
Yeah.
right?
make haste, make haste, make haste, make
that
haste.
was their way of telling you to hurry up,
That was
like
their
to do
way.
something
Yeah.
fast.
But
It's
as
old
I got
English.
older, that's what I was about to
It's
say. Like
proper
as I got
English.
older,
Yeah.
I realized, wait, a lot of the words these Caribbean people are saying, it's like good English, like
Yeah.
old
Yeah.
English
Proper.
words that you just,
You forget.
you
Wow.
don't know, right? Yeah.
But-
Yeah.
Another one was my grandma would say stuff like you use the word atal atal atal.
Yeah,
Tall,
I
Uh, yeah.
don't like that. Tall, tall,
Tall,
tall.
tall, yeah.
So I'm just like, Grandma, I'm like, you're not tall. Like, why are you saying I'm tall, I'm tall, I'm
Yeah.
tall? But she's actually saying at all, at all, at
Yeah.
all,
Yeah.
right? So, yeah.
Yeah.
One
there's
of
a
the
lot
things
those.
that used to, they use it both ways. You too bright.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Mhm.
It could be like a positive, like, oh, this person is, smart or whatnot. The next one, he's too forward when you're like you're too bright.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
It's
There's
true.
a lot of those like words that it sounds like a positive, but it's not.
Yeah.
Like if you, let's say you gain weight, they're like, hey, watch how she fought.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, you know, but the
Yeah.
way they say it, like you feel like, oh my God.
But it's not necessarily like a bad thing or whatever. It's
No.
just
No.
it's just their way of like talking to you or whatever.
Yeah.
Try. So okay, why did you choose your word, the one that you?
Make case?
No, your main word.
Bungee.
Oh, bungee.
Yeah, tell us about that one.
Yeah. So bungee is just something that I used to always make my grandmother say.
Okay.
Like that was the word that like when I broke something, bungee. And she say bungee, I hope you're satisfied. Those things. Be like, I hope you're satisfied. No, you're breaking. You're bungee. Like she'd always say bungee. And like I used to wonder what bungee
Bungee
was.
means.
Right?
That's what I'm. Yeah.
yeah, like, but it's basically oh God.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
And it's like
essentially
a
it.
Creole.
Yeah, it's
word,
like a
yeah.
French,
It's a mix.
Yeah.
a Creole word, and that's something that I like. Again, this is our rich history. Like we have this like sort of French,
Yeah.
and is it French and English?
Yeah, it's
English?
like a mixture of
A
like
mixture
the
of
old.
the
Yeah.
two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like we have, and it's from our oppressors, but that's that's
It's a-
another.
But it's part of a rich
podcast.
history where like
Yeah.
they had this actual language where they were talking in
They're
that kind of
talking
mixture.
amongst each other, and like people couldn't. I guess they couldn't understand them when
Yeah.
they had their certain dialects down packed. Like people just. I guess they couldn't keep up. But yeah.
Mhm.
That was
So
weird.
so it was an expression of like surprise kind of thing.
Yeah, essentially, yes.
So okay, I use it in a sentence for like our like
Oh my gosh, use bungee in a
Our
sentence. Okay.
followers who may not be like West Indian.
I don't know. I guess I was supposed to get my susu money. But susu is like susu is like it's like a money sharing.
Yeah, like we
Yeah.
each put $20 in, and when it's my week, I get $80.
$80.
So
and
it's
then
like
we
way
do
of
that
getting
every
a
week,
yeah.
and then like each person gets $80.
So we have a susu going here.
of a susu. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, it's like I put all my money in the susu for the first 4 weeks, and then when it comes to my week, I say bungee. Like I ain't getting anything, and like that's
Yeah.
pretty much
Yeah.
how
Like, oh
bungee.
God.
Like oh God, like you know,
Yeah.
something.
Yeah,
Well,
that was the
probably
one I heard a lot.
One
Yeah.
saying that I remember was that where horse read, donkey reach also. Meaning that don't anything that anywhere a horse may do, it may be more elegant, it may be faster or
Oh,
whatnot.
yeah.
But the donkey can reach it too. So.
Yeah.
So what like so that's kind of positive.
Yeah,
too,
no,
like,
it is positive.
Yeah.
It's definitely positive. It just saying
no
like,
matter who.
don't focus so much on what others are doing. Just focus on what you're doing. Like even if it may not be as graceful as the horse is doing it, even though it may be as the donkey is doing it, you're still gonna reach the same place at the end of the day. So,
Yeah. And-
Go ahead.
go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say another one I remember just now was crapo smoke your pipe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I don't know. I know it's like you're in a tough situation.
Yeah, that's
That's
just
as far
it.
as I know. Am I missing anything else here with
Isn't
crapo
Crapo's
smoke
like
your
a
pipe?
frog?
It's a
Yeah.
frog, yeah.
Crapo's a frog.
And I'm just like,
then
why is this frog
smoking
smoking?
my
I don't.
pipe.
Yeah.
Like, I don't,
I
don't-
think
I don't
yeah,
have
I
a
think
pipe.
I don't get it.
I think someone taking your
Yeah, I'm not sure.
you have to
what
be
it-
wise so people don't just take your stuff from you. I guess I don't know.
I don't know.
There's a lot
Hopefully-
of those where I'm just like, I don't know what this thing means.
And this is why we have the family. We're
So
opening
tell
up
us.
to
Yeah,
you guys.
maybe you
Please
guys
let us
can-
know
yeah.
what crapo smoke your pipe mean.
It's a
This is
bad
specifically for a
situation.
Grenadian and any other Caribbean family who might know.
And then another one is your father.
Oh yeah,
Now your
then
father-
this is
your
one
father's
thing.
a glassmaker.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
if you're
Clara
standing
is
in
a
front of the
Clara,
TV, like
Yeah.
the TV's on and you're standing in front of it, they're like, hey, you think your father's a glassmaker?
Yeah.
Meaning, are you made from glass?
Like,
Like, I can't see through
Yeah,
you.
yeah,
I'm just like,
yeah.
can't you just say excuse me? Like,
Yeah, like it'll make more sense.
Yeah, and so like obviously we're not gonna like talk long about each of these, but I'm
We
just
can go on
remembering
for
some
days.
like
There's a lot.
there's
Bad company can lead you astray.
bad company
And
can
even
either.
with that one too, there's a next one where it's like, friends go bring you go,
Oh,
but don't bring you back.
Yeah.
And that was a big one,
That was
right?
a-
Like,
Yeah,
they mean
So-
like your friends would lead you astray and
Yeah,
never
so
bring you
just
back.
know your friends pretty
Yeah.
much.
Okay,
Yeah,
show
it's
me your
imp-
friends and I'll show
Yeah,
you
yeah.
who you are.
Yeah, it's important to like kind of know who like you spend time around. Like the sayings are all like really and truly to help you be
A better person.
a better, but it's a funny way of saying it. Like when you
Yeah.
really think about it, like it's like an interesting way. Like what, like if someone tell you like my belly go bust or whatever, it's just like their parents are telling you if you eat so much it's gonna be bad for you, but they're telling you your belly's
You
gonna
better go boss.
literally bust, right? What are some other ones you guys can think of?
Where you catch your cold, blow your nose.
Will you catch your cold, blow your nose?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
So it means wherever you go and you find your trouble,
Stay there.
stay there. So that means that like the way my mom was explaining it to me was that if a person go and get pregnant or whatnot, don't come back here.
Don't come back.
Stay
home.
over there.
That is so savage, man. That is so savage. One I remember is you make your bed, no, lay in it. Like, that's one I remember.
Yeah.
seeing.
And some of these are like they throughout the Caribbean. It's not just Grenada, right?
Yeah, and another one, you day in good house and
Bad
bad
house.
house calling you.
Yeah. So like things are going well for you, but like you're following like bad company. Like you're listening to what bad companies telling you to do.
Terry nailed that one.
Don't.
I had no idea.
The next one, don't count your chicken before it hatch.
Yeah, that's another one.
Yeah, and I think that one is like one that we even hear it in North
North
America,
America.
but they really took it up in the Caribbean because I do
Yeah.
remember my mom telling me that when I was younger.
And then my grandma used to say a similar one is like, don't put your hat where your hand can reach.
Oh,
so
yeah,
like,
that's a big
don't
one,
try to
yeah.
reach for something that like, you know,
Yeah,
it's out of your.
that's a good one.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a really good one.